I think is if you're running the one-man show with couple of employees or family, I don't advise 24 hours because you will burn yourself out and your
Right.
electricity, utility, insurance, employee cost will eat up the profit of whatever you sell after reasonable hours. My stores used to
Right.
open at 6, close at 9, no exception, not a
Right.
minute late, not a minute early. And
6 to 9. Yeah.
employee has, yes, employee has to go home, you have to go home, and you have to get ready for next.
Right.
And
Now, man. Yeah.
Sunday I used to close my store at 5
Right. Sunday
so
at
that we
5.
can have family time. Yes.
Oh, good. But now, my next question to you, I see the practice here in Florida. Wawa is coming from up north in Pennsylvania, I believe. And we've been so used to 7-Eleven. Wawa will come and buy property next to a 7-Eleven, and within 2-3 months, that gas station will go out of business. Is that a good practice in your business?
It to me is unethical, and with my experience in England and other places, of course, England has changed since I moved, but in those days there was some moral ethics by a landlord, and in some of the places it still exists that they will make sure when they have a property or a big 2-3 acre commercial area that they would
Right.
make sure that they do not lease their property to the same industry or trades and avoid the
Right.
competition. I used to have same
Right.
situation in Chicago. And even now, some of the landlords in Chicago in high-rise building, unless it's a multi-story big, they will not rent a space to the same trade, and that way protect their tenant. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the freestanding buildings and properties like Wawa's and Racetrack and others, there is very little you can do because their research and their team who does the research on the area and everything, they know that, okay, there are two 7-Eleven in this exit and they are doing X number of business, which they can find out from the supplier. So they think, oh, okay, there is a potential, and they have better gas building. They have better hot food and things. They say, okay, to start with, from day one, they will tap into your business because they know that there is a business in this area,
Right.
and they cannot go wrong. But it's unethical. You cannot control it, and there is no law as such that you cannot open something in certain radius.
Right. Right. My next question has to do with electric car coming up. Is the event of electric car, does that affect the gas station business at all, or is still technology
Uh,
far away from affecting gas stations?
no, it won't affect you. My guess is it will not affect the gas station for at least another 20 or 25 years.
Right.
And there is enough, according to the statistic, there is enough gasoline under the soil all over the world to support the world.
Interesting.
Yes.
So there's one question I would like to ask you. For example, we have a lot of teenagers, high schoolers, and you sell alcohol and tobacco. How you train your employee? Because some of these kids look like an adult, or sometimes some of the kids will pay an adult to go buy for them. But in terms of the kids, kind of how you uh, how you prevent underage from buying either alcohol or cigarette at your gas station.
Well, we had a strict policy for every employee, although they still can foul up, not intentionally, but ask for ID for everybody. And as
Right.
soon as we used to see a new face in the store walking in, always ID. And the thumb rule was that if he looks, although a cigarette was sold to the 18-year-old plus and 21 for beer, but our thumb rule was if anybody looks under 25, ID. That way you are safe. Not that everyone who looks 18. No. Anybody who looks under 25, ID.
Right.
Now, some adult buying cigarette or beer for a minor, you have to go by your gut feeling. You know your regular customers. You look out in the parking lot and see things are going on, but you cannot control it. But at the same time, the beverage department is notorious because the law provides them to fine you because they gave you beverage license.
Right.
As such, they cannot fine the customer or the adult at them because there is no law for it and they cannot
Right.
prove it.
Right. Right.
Whereas they will try to sit in your parking lot for hours, watch you foul up, or purposely send in your store a minor who looks like adult to set you up. So it's your call and it's your luck. It had happened sometimes to our employees, and it was a setup by the department. It wasn't intentional, and they send a person, and while the undercover agent is in your store, you make a mistake, and he just flashes his ID and books you for that. And you have to go through the court expense, whatever. And I am not sure of the present policy, but at that time you were given a fine and court appearance for 2 occasions, and third time your license is revoked. And
Right.
30 years back, there used to be a beverage license. There was no tobacco license. And then because
Yeah.
of the tobacco lawsuit and everything, now there is a beverage license, there is a tobacco license, and there is the lottery license. And
Yeah.
what they have done is in Florida, they have interconnected all of them. So in the
Right.
past, if you have a beverage problem, all you could not sell is a beer for so long or whatever. But now
Right.
you foul up on any 3 of them, all 3 sales are suspended. That means you virtually
Yeah.
close the store till the suspension is revoked.
Right.
And all 3 licenses are given by government. So if you foul up something on the lottery, you are messing up your beer license or tobacco license. And if you mess up on beer, you're messing up your tobacco license and the lottery license.
Right.
So, and without
Now,
those 3 things, you cannot run your store.
now we are getting close to the end of our interview, but this is such an interesting subject. You are instructing and giving us a lot of tips about owning and running a gas station. My question to you: you live in so many different places, India, England, USA. After such experience, what country, if you have to pick between US, for example, and England, what would you pick and why?
Uh, Between England and USA, I definitely would pick USA because
Right.
it's not as congested as Europe or England right now, and plus because of their immigration policy and things in Europe, there is a lot of immigrants from the countries have migrated there or they are obliged to accept them, which has given rise to a lot of crime in that country.
Right.
So
Right.
yes, between England and America, I would prefer at moment live in USA.
Right. So we're gonna thank you for your interview, but before we end, I would like you to conclude because you do a lot. Your hobbies are tennis, cricket, and also I understand you do gardening.
Yes,
and then you're
I do.
raising grandkids. If for your legacy, this is the last question. How would you mentor a young person growing up in this modern society today?
Very difficult question to answer, but you have to gain knowledge to give somebody knowledge. So I try
Right.
to learn every day something new, and
Right.
yet my grandkids are 10 and 7 and 5 and 4, but yet they surprise us every day with something new they learn from school. So
Right.
every day is a new chapter, and you feel like going to school again.
Right. Right. So you as a grandfather, a grand a grandfather to this kid, what are you trying to teach them for the future? What do you want to leave them for a legacy, for example?
Uh, be humble,
Be humble.
learn a lot, keep your mind open, learn a lot, and religion is a must, and they should know how to respect and pray.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friends, Rohit Patel. We learn a lot about gas station, how to own it and run it, and the general life lessons for kids. Rohit, we want to thank you so much for coming to our show. And again, the show is so
Anytime.
interesting. We may come back to you again for a second round. Thank you for taking the time.
Anytime. Pleasure
Thank
is
you.
mine.
Thank you so much. And then I will get back to you later on to catch
All
up.
right.
But thank you again.